This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, I'm Justin Betty. Folks rallied in Fargo today. Then they spoke at tonight's City Commission meeting demanding the release of police body cam video tied to an officer-involved shooting Friday morning. 28-year-old Shane Netterville was shot by an officer as police say he was trying to drive away in a stolen van from an apartment garage. He later died. At today's rally, Shane's brother Gary told us his brother would never do anything like that.
Do I think my brother would run over a cop? No, definitely not.
We spoke to a witness Friday who says she saw the incident go down. You'll remember she had this to say.
It made me scared, but I'm glad the police are okay because he quite killed him. He was about to run the police over.
The officer who fired the shot, 11-year veteran Adam O'Brien, is now on administrative leave while the North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation investigates. Fargo Police Department's policy manual discourages officers from shooting at moving vehicles, calling it rarely effective, saying officers should only shoot at moving vehicles when the officer believes there are no other reasonable means to avert imminent threat. Of course, we don't know what happened because the police body cam video has not yet been released. Authorities plan to, just not yet. State Bureau of Criminal Investigation is leading this investigation, but all the different agencies are kind of finger pointing at each other, telling us different agencies are responsible for actually releasing that video.
We hear your concerns and we understand your questions, and we seek the same answers that you do in terms of whether the use of force was justified or not.
That's Chief Zabalski. He says at Thursday night's Police Oversight and Advisory Board meeting coming up, they will take a deep dive into the FPD policies relevant to this shooting, and he encourages the public to tune in. Police also remind you to be on the lookout for this man, Derek Stanley, who the chief says would provide some vital information on the investigation. Stanley was one of the 3 people in the vehicle at the time of the shooting. The driver, who we told you was killed, a second person who was arrested, and Stanley, who was still on the run. Switching gears and taking a look outside this evening, the remnants of was a pretty sunset outside in Fargo, though we had a little bit more excitement in other parts of our region. First Alert Storm Team meteorologist Nathan Hopper joins us now with details. Nathan.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. Boy, it was a beautiful sunset. Still seeing some nice colors there on the horizon here on this Monday evening. But, of course, things pretty quiet outside of a few clouds here or there. Now, you remember yesterday morning we had that line of storms make its way through Fargo, Moorhead. Well, earlier in the day, around, say, 2:30 a.m. or so, 1:30 Mountain Time, we did have that from that same line of storms, a report of an estimated 120-mile-per-hour wind gust. Look at the damage this thing did. It took a 150-foot communication tower, toppled it, and it absolutely destroyed a 10 by 12-foot building with some weight in it. So, yeah, that was just, don't see that very often. A wind estimated of 120 miles per hour, especially if it's not associated with a tornado. So this was either a straight line wind of 120 miles per hour, could have been a downburst as well. This is in Billings County, North Dakota. You can see just toward the north and west of Dickinson from yesterday morning. Now that storm did make its way through Fargo Moorhead yesterday, and now we're seeing the remnants of that low pressure system still bringing some showers and some thunder activity, mainly to our Minnesota neighborhoods at this point, zooming into the New York Mills area near Wadena, just north of Henning, seeing a few rumbles of thunder there. Some rain in New York Mills as we speak. Not severe, just enough to get the old windshield dirty as that shower is making its way from north to south. And then in the Halleck area, also seeing a shower making its way through your neck of the woods out of Manitoba. I do expect anything coming out of Manitoba tonight to start weakening pretty quickly here for this evening, but temperatures very comfortable, 60s and 70s with mainly clear skies across the region. Bemidji there, 65 degrees at this hour. Now, of course, we're tracking some more storms tomorrow from this same low pressure system, but Justin, also a heat wave potentially is on the way for this week. I'll break down that forecast in a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Nathan. If you're heading on I-94 around Fargo this week, give yourself a little extra time. Road work on the interstate caused some big backups today. The project includes installing high-tension cables on I-94 from Cheyenne Street to 42nd Street and the installation of a concrete median barrier from 42nd to the I-29 interchange. That project should wrap up in September. The Fargo area is growing quickly, with many people moving to the region every week. But a couple new residents got a harsh welcome thanks to what they say was a moving scam. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor has our whistleblower investigation.
Susan and Mark Langford recently moved to Fargo from Missouri.
We decided to move here because we're adventurous in our retirement years.
But the journey of relocating to a new city was far from easy. The couple says they responded to an ad from a moving company called Final Destination Moving.
Total moving estimate was $2,783.72.
But the couple later learned the company was just a brokerage that contracted out other moving companies. And on moving day, movers from another company called Handle with Care Moving and Storage showed up to their front door.
He asked my husband, he said, before I can touch any of your property, we want you to sign a release form. My husband didn't realize he was being tricked right then and there.
But once their items were loaded up on the truck,
all of a sudden the foreman says to my husband, Mr. Langford, your price is going to be significantly higher.
The couple says the company wanted nearly $5,000 more, so they decided they no longer wanted to work with the company. But before they could relay the news,
the truck was gone. My husband ran out the front door and he looked down the road, and there the truck was already 2 blocks down the road.
Susan says they tried to track down their property and later learned it was being stored at the company's warehouse in Georgia, as well as some other red flags.
They don't have a business license to be in any profit business, period.
Once they finally got their property back after a long battle, most of it was damaged or missing, forcing them to pay out of pocket to replace the items.
$10,000 in supplying all of our household needs.
According to the Better Business Bureau website, the company currently has a 1-star customer rating, and other customers have shared similar allegations against the company. Now the Langfords are warning others to beware.
Don't trust anyone in the moving business.
In Fargo, Nisha Taylor, Valley News Live.
So far, the couple has only been able to recoup about $1,000 of what they put out. The pair also says police in Georgia stated they've received over 20 complaints about the company just in the last 2 years. Again, this tip came in through our whistleblower hotline. If you need help with an issue in your community, you can call the hotline. The number on your screen here, 701-369-3187. It's a voicemail. Just leave your tip. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. New information following Friday's benefit concert for Ukraine. Numbers are in. Moorhead veteran Mark Lindquist, along with the all-volunteer big band, raised $11,000 and received pledges for another $15,000. All that on 10 days' notice, and all in addition to the GoFundMe page he runs, which raised more than $95,000 so far. We have a link to that on our website. Lindquist is now already back in Ukraine. He spent today collecting more medical supplies. He says he has more performances coming up, this time in Ukraine, planned for later this month. New tonight, the sheriff of Cass County, Minnesota, is addressing how to deal with unwanted bears after an increase in complaints. Sheriff Tom Birch says some bears are damaging property, vehicles, or crops, even entering homes through screen doors. He says your best bet is to remove any reason for the bear to return to your area, like any food laying out. Killing nuisance bears is allowed by Minnesota state law. However, that option can only be used if a bear is causing significant property damage or creating an immediate danger. And of course, it is itself very dangerous. A Fargo couple recently moved into what they thought was a safe neighborhood. There's an elementary school right down the block. But when they returned home from a weekend away recently, what they found suggests otherwise. Valley News Team's Jillian Trudeau has details. It's a story you'll only see here on Valley News Live.
I didn't think we thought that would happen at all. This neighborhood seemed so perfect.
John and Bryce left for the lake over the weekend and came home to find something shocking.
We got home and we noticed that there was a hole in the drywall behind the door. And we were wondering what it was, and then we noticed that there was a bullet hole in the door that made that hole.
After calling the police, Bryce says he checked their security footage. 5 gunshots rang out on 16th and a half Street in Fargo around 1:30 Saturday morning.
It was kind of scary. I kind of was hoping it wasn't like a targeted thing, since we are a gay couple and we just moved in this neighborhood in February.
They say after talking with neighbors and reviewing their security footage, they weren't able to identify who the people were, and they still don't know where the 4 other bullets went.
I mean, if it's 20 feet to the left, that would have been through their kid's bedroom wall, which is not cool at all.
Fargo Police Department says they did not get a call about gunshots or disturbances that night. Bryce says after talking with neighbors, most thought the shots were leftover fireworks.
We just hope that neighbors around the area are maybe a little more vigilant when they do hear something or see something going on, and report it so that maybe we can get something done.
Now they say they are installing more cameras around their property, and they say neighbors are doing the same.
You know, we lock our doors and whatever, but we didn't really worry about, you know, being outside at night or anything like that, and now it's kind of makes you think twice.
In Fargo, Jillian Trudeau.
And I do still really love this neighborhood.
Valley News Live.
Anyone with information about this incident is asked to contact Fargo Police. People gathered at the Fargo National Veterans Cemetery today to pay respects to a man who dedicated his career to law enforcement and service. Brandon Sola was laid to rest during a ceremony which included a 21-gun salute and the playing of taps. Sola was a former state trooper, police chief in Carrington, and master sergeant with the North Dakota Air National Guard. He died 2 weeks ago in a motorcycle crash. The 36-year-old leaves behind a wife and 5 children.
A good father. His legacy is that we're gonna miss him.
Enforcement escort brought his body from Minot to Fargo. Valley News teams, Valley City Fire Department set up a tribute on exit 294 on I-94.